Hey, welcome back. It's Stephanie, and we are going to have another whispering adventure. I invite you to grab your earbuds, decide what you're going to be doing while I am whispering to you. You can choose your personal pathway. You can sit with me and hang out, or you can go about whatever you're going to do and allow these whispering words to ground, soothe, relax, and empower you. So let's check in with ourselves. Take some time to be with you while you're listening to me. A concept that has really fascinated me here over the last couple years is the idea of alchemy. And while I don't consider myself an expert in necessarily anything per se other than my own experience, I do appreciate the concept of alchemy because it is taking something seemingly useless maybe, or horrible, or Okay, here we go. Alchemy is a way to transform suffering into remembering your wholeness. I never really thought of it that way before. That was a nice juicy insight. Hopefully it hits your ears in a way that supports you with what you're navigating. The world of spirituality is very interesting, especially after religious trauma. After I left Mormonism, I jumped into a very atheistic period. And this isn't uncommon for Mormons, I don't think, because for Mormons, we do believe in Christ, right? That is part of the doctrine, a main part of the doctrine. And it's like being Christian on steroids in a way. And once you lose your faith in Mormonism, the idea of Christianity, at least for me, was like utter bullshit. Not that the concept of Christ consciousness, I love the concept of Christ consciousness because there was this element of human rights that Christ lived his life with, or the story of Christ, right? And I love that aspect. But as far as like Christianity in general, it was atheism for me after Mormonism. And then I dipped my toes back into the world of spirituality, and I was still navigating that with a shame-based identity to start with. And so a lot of the world of spirituality was similar to religion because of my identity, right? Because of that shame-based identity, trying to find the thing that was going to help me feel okay or feel connected or whatnot. And alchemy was one of those concepts that I really enjoyed because it's almost an experience-based internal process that you can go through. And you can tell I need to slow down every once in a while to catch the words to describe the experience. And some people might consider that channeling in the world of spirituality, and I don't know, right? I don't know anything, but what I do know is that in a very real way, we all have this ability to tap in and channel and create from that tapping in. And it's such a fascinating experience to witness within yourself. I've recently gone through an end of a very long relationship, and I had a lot of things that I needed to alchemize, and I mean still in the process of alchemizing that. Oh boy, still in the process for fucking sure. And it feels like it really does feel like a realignment when we're able to alchemize the grief, alchemize the stories, alchemize the narrative, and also tap down into an inner knowing that's below the level of narrative and identity, so that we can then move from that place in the process of alchemy. And we're all human. We all have ego and identity. That's how we operate in the world of separation, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we all have our story. We all have our journey. We all have those things. And spirituality has given me a way to access the wholeness that has always fucking been here. The inner knowings that have always fucking been here. And I like to think about the process of alchemy as unwinding the tension that blinds us from the core of who we are. And there's no pressure to do this the right way. The core of who you are, here we go. The core of who you are is really a piece of consciousness in a physical vessel. Is it more complex than that? Yes, it is, right? But I really enjoy knowing that even though there's ego and identity and all of this stuff that goes on in the human experience, I can always tap down into the core of me, into this I am essence, and create from that space. And in a very real way, maybe that is alchemy, right? Moving down through the conditioning, down through the layers of ego and identity, so that we have access and a grounding anchor down into I am. And this has been really helpful for me as I've been navigating identity, because I'm no longer attached to the idea of me like I used to be. And it feels fucking cool to not have to live through the idea of me that I was conditioned to see myself as. There's freedom in the unknown. And maybe in a way, alchemy is also this way to move through the fear that the unknown contains. So that we can intentionally so that we can intentionally create what we're called to create, to use the gifts and talents that we have without the idea of ourselves getting in the fucking way. Because it does, it gets in the way. It gets in the goddamn way. And it's cyclical. We see it and then we don't see it. And then we see it again and then we fall back into identity and ego. And it's this process that once you witness it on a repeat cycle, you understand where the weak points are and where you can pull your energy back out of that conditioning and out of that identity and down to that core self I am energy. That is fucking magical. It's so magical. And still scary. It is still scary. You deserve to create, to be, to express, to send ripples of I am and love throughout the world, because that's really what I am is, that core self I am wholeness. We could equate it with the word love. I mean, I hesitate to use the word love because it's been co-opted in this really fucked up way to mean romantic love. But in the world that we live in, romantic love has a lot of codependency that's in it that's not actually love, it's transactional. So when I say the word love, when I'm talking about wholeness, it's not a transactional thing at all. For me, the concept of spirituality is accessible through self-connection, through self-attunement, through alchemy, through letting go of the idea of me as being separate from wholeness. Believing we're separate from wholeness leaves us to just repeat patterns. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? The repetition of patterns gives us an opportunity to get curious, to look at things through the lens of compassion for this human experience that we're having. And even though identity and ego like to create more suffering than necessary, I mean, there is real suffering in the world, right? There are real challenges. There is real bullshit that we have to deal with, especially in the world of systemic oppression that we do find ourselves in. And I don't want to suffer any more than what's already here in this world of oppression. I choose me. I choose to be self-connected. And for me, that place of self-connection where we touch the I am essence, we see it in all the other beautiful motherfucking humans on the planet. Some of them still living through identity and control and oppressing groups of people, right? There's that. So we have to learn that even though we are this I am essence, this unconditional love, we still need boundaries in the world of separation. we do. And we can alchemize and create from the core of who we are. And I don't know how to put it into words exactly, but this process that I am attempting to put words to is very, it's, oh. It doesn't have to be either or. We can acknowledge that there are real issues that cause harm to groups of people on this planet. And the way to create the most powerful change in a world of this nature is to tap down into your I am essence. We'll see what comes out of this whispering adventure today. Hopefully it has something, but you know, if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm still going to be creating and playing and moving through my own personal challenges from a place of wholeness. I find that there's a lot less suffering that way. And I deal with chronic pain, and I'm going through some extra health challenges right now that are very concerning to the human brain. So I'm not saying this from a place of non-suffering. I'm saying this from a place of, dude, I could totally go into the suffering if I allowed it. Please remember that you are a beautiful fucking human. That is so much more than your conditioning, your ego, or your identity. And that you too are whole and complete and have inherent value that can never be taken away. Never be taken away. It is yours. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will whisper at you next time. Bye.